Welcome back, friends of G&K. We're here to bring you another concept that revolves around manure and manure management. So our recommendation is anytime you spread manure on your operation, whether it's swine manure, chicken litter, cattle manure, you should always have an understanding of what is in that. Don't ever assume it is what it is. We constantly run manure samples so we understand what's going on your farm. Matter of fact, today we're going out to collect a chicken litter sample. All right, we need to get a sample of chicken litter. Luke, will you help me get a sample?
Let's get one.
Get one. Okay, hold this guy. We'll try. Come on, buddy.
How long is it gonna take?
I don't know. Does he need a cup of coffee or something?
Yeah.
Or it might be just as easy to collect a sample from a litter pile in a field. Anytime you spread manure, it's always a good idea to double check the value of what you're applying. Never assume and never think it's the same as what it's always been in the past. So no matter what you're applying, I like reference samples once in a while just to see what you got. Look at the heat coming off of that baby. Oh, there's some good stuff. Okay, that's good. We'll seal this up and take it to the lab. Skylar, can you drop these off at the lab after you pick up those dairy manure samples?
All right, that'll work.
Skylar's going to go to the lab. He's going to stop and pick up some dairy manure samples at another client. And hopefully we get some good data back this week. So as you can see, we collected the litter sample right from the pile in the field. We just went through an epidemic of bird flu across the country. So they're composting a lot of birds and they're mixing that compost now with manure, litter, and they're making a blend. Well, that's not the same analysis as what the litter used to be before they had to mix in compost. One of the risks associated with that is in subsequent soil tests, we may follow that up in 2 years and realize you never gained anything. Matter of fact, you might have lost value because you assumed that you got the nutrient value that you assumed. You can't hide from data. So having sample data from whatever manure source you have will ensure that we can make adequate decisions, proper management, and futuristic goals are met. So whether you're dealing with a deep pit swine building, a chicken layer manure pile, a dairy lagoon, a pen pack beef cattle manure, you just never know. For example, this is a deep pit building, not a lagoon. So what happens at this facility is different than something that feeds into a lagoon. So a lagoon obviously is going to generate a lot more water content, the nutrient content. Also, you could have a gestation building, a nursery building, and a finishing building. Those will all be different nutrient levels. So it's always important to have tests and have data. Get us samples, allow us to get samples so we can get data from the lab so we can make good decisions from. It's super important to understand what's coming to your farm, what's coming in the manure so we can make decisions for you and you can have an impact to your crop that you expect to have. A simple manure test is pretty cheap investment in order to make decisions that impact your bottom line and your crops. Okay, I got these reports hot off the press right from the lab. And what I'm looking at is typical chicken layer manure compared to composted birds blended with manure, just so we can understand the valuation difference. And what I'm seeing are values that are about a fourth to half of what they used to be because we're blending composted birds with manure. So I think it's really important to understand what we're getting and so we can look at true values. We build valuation spreadsheets so we can assign them against commercial fertilizer, so you kind of know what you're getting in relationship what you would buy commercially. So this would be a typical nutrient load in normal layer manure at a 2-ton application for a cost of $110 per acre at 2 tons, which is typical. You're going to get $130 in nutrient load. Pretty good deal. In this particular case, our NP and K values are substantially less. Now, granted, this particular litter we're getting cheaper. 2 tons is going to cost us half the money, but we're getting a third of the nutrient value. So in actuality, we're losing some money. Typically, we do a lot of 2-ton per acre litter rates when we're making applications, sometimes 3. And so what I'm seeing here in terms of valuations, whereas we might normally do 2, with the current state of this litter, we really need to do about 4 to be equivalent nutrient load. So if we only did 2 tons in subsequent soil tests down the road, we're going to find we're probably going backwards and then scratching our head wondering what happened, because we expected to get X, but we ended up getting Y. And more importantly, Y. It's extremely valuable to run manure tests. And manure isn't perfect like fertilizer, but it is a guide, and it can help steer your decision making in terms of rates and what to expect down the road. Once again, thanks for tuning into this video. At G&K, we're always trying to bring innovative ideas to the farm. Hopefully you got something out of this video that you can utilize on your own farm or be thinking about towards your farming operation. And thanks so much for watching. Be sure to like and subscribe, and we'll see you in the next video. Oh, okay. Money. Don't ever assume it is what it is. Never assume, and never think it's the same as what it's always been in the past. You can never assume that it's all the same, and you can also never assume that it's the same as what it was before. So you never want to assume that you're getting the same values, because you assumed that you got the nutrient value that you assumed.
We've got some B-roll now. We got it.
You know what? Stick to commercial fertilizer.
Yes.
Oh man, this is the best part of my week right here.